Good evening and welcome to Live Long and Podcast. This is Picard, Season 2, Episode 2, Penance. This is the episode reaction. And I'm Jody Simpson, and I have Mr. Awesome himself, Davan Skelhorn. How are you?
And yet not.
What do you mean?
It's a callback to later in the episode.
I know.
Got my Earl Grey hot.
Oh, good. At least it's not Black Colombian coffee, because that is terrible.
Dad, it says so on the mug.
Oh, okay. We have that under good authority, do we?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're hoping to see Adam Woodward. He hasn't arrived yet. Maybe he's running a little late or having some issues, so maybe he'll join us in between. But let's just get into this. This is an action-packed episode again.
This is where it was supposed to all go wrong, Jody.
Yes, and surprisingly, it wasn't. So that's interesting. So I got some screenshots going here. So let's get that started, I guess. Let's get these big. Okay, there you go. So the first thing I got here is obviously we open to the new Earth, I guess it is, or whatever you want to call it, alternate Earth.
With its honeycomb solar shield.
Well, we thought this was a defense grid. But it turns out it's not. This is actually to protect the world, because Q makes mention that essentially we've screwed up this planet, and this is kind of its life support system to, I guess, maybe block out a lot of the UV to stop more of the issues that we're having. But either way, I thought it was an interesting shot, so I got a quick pick of it here. Now, I will tell you, I haven't gone through and looked at all these shots yet, so I'm going to tell you there might be some that are kind of blurry and crappy. Anyway, here we go. We got Picard and the man himself, Q. This man is... The thing I really like about this scene is it really shows how mad he is. Q is mad, but we don't know why yet. Right? Do you know why? Because I don't know why. And that's a problem.
No.
Right?
But it is interesting. I've always wanted to see, and I know I'm not the only one who's wanted to see angry Q, because he's always just
and he is angry. And the other thing that I thought was interesting is when we see him, he's got crap in his eyes. He's not looking good. And actually, Picard even mentions this. He says, "You're looking like crap," basically. Like that's kind of the logic here. And Picard's fed up. Picard's like, "What have you done, Q? This isn't right. When are you going to stop this crap?" And there's so many good lines. I unfortunately don't have all the quotes in front of me. I still think everybody needs to watch the damn episode. And of course, if you haven't figured this out yet, spoilers. This is an entire episode of spoilers. So if you haven't watched it, now's a good time to stop. Okay, because I've only shown you what's in the trailer so far. So we get a lot of the trailer stuff in this, which I think you did. I think you purposely avoided, but
I did.
So a lot of the stuff that we're seeing in this episode is definitely in the trailer for season 2.
I'm skipping them all then.
Yeah, well, skip the trailer for sure. I think the first 3 episodes are where you're going to see all the trailer contents because they showed us a lot of the stuff in the trailer. But from here we go. It looks like I got a couple of them. He then now, did I get
this group of scenes has such a Christmas Carol vibe. He's spit it.
The thing I really like, I love the lighting. The lighting is fantastic in this scene because it really does portray that we have a major UV issue here. Like we got problems, and those vines don't look good. Like they're having an issue, and I think Picard's even more worried about that than he is of everything else right now. Like he's like, "What have you done to my vines?" Because the man obviously takes his winemaking very seriously. Now, this was
shocking.
This alone, this scene here is worth the price of admission, because
look at the look on his face. Good screen.
Yeah, I tried to get as good as I could. It's a hard shot because that slap is really fast.
Oh yeah.
And I think they almost even sped it up in video, because I'm pretty sure both these gentlemen aren't moving as fast as they're being portrayed in this. But either way, John Delancey, obviously fantastic actor. We love him. His facial expressions have always been great, and this is like he's angry, and this is just after Picard basically mentions, like, "You're not looking good. You look ill. Like you're obviously not right." And we don't know what's going on. For all we know, Q's dying, right? Like, even though he's supposed to be an omnipotent being or omnipotent.
That's what I gathered.
Yeah, well, I kind of gathered that myself, but I think they're going to surprise us on this. I think there's going to be something else going on, but we don't know for sure what's going on yet. But a fantastic scene, and we get to see Picard basically get bitch slapped by Q. Like, this is something that we've only ever seen once before in Star Trek, and that was Cisco, obviously. Cisco decked Q, but we never seen Q actually result to this. This is usually beneath him.
He
right?
was sick of Picard's whining, and he just wanted to snap him
he's
into
done
the
with
point.
Picard. He's like, you know what? You fucked up everything, and this is me trying to course correct things.
Which is funny because it's usually the other way around, where he's just sick of Q, and he's like, "Go away, Q," and it's almost the opposite here. He's just like,
exactly.
I don't have time for your shit.
And I think this is why we're getting the name of the episode, which is obviously Penance.
Yeah.
This is a very good indication on where this episode's going. This episode doesn't stop with this violence. There's a lot of violence in this episode. And to the point that I would even go so far as to say it's got a lot of violence compared to most Star Trek stuff that we've seen. There's a lot here.
Yeah, and it should have bothered me more than it did, and it didn't. Like,
didn't bother
there's
me
so
at
many
all.
things in this episode that I'll get into that should have bothered me and didn't. But I think it's credit to the acting and the writing, actually.
I agree with you. I agree with you for sure. But here we got a bloody nose Picard, which is also rare to see. The thing that I thought was interesting about this is the fact is, why is he bleeding?
Because he's a biosynth.
Well, he is a biosynth, yeah. So I guess technically they have blood. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe that'll play a part. Who knows? Maybe he's no longer the android he thinks he is. Maybe. Who knows? Either way.
I mean, Q did say they're in the body. He's in the body of a madman.
Yes. Yeah. So maybe that's part of it.
And
right? Maybe,
as we see later with Seven, she's in a new body as well.
Absolutely, so which we'll be getting to.
The consequences of that.
Yeah, I think actually Seven is probably one of the stars of this show. There's a lot of great scenes with her in it. Some callbacks to the way she acted previously in other iterations of that character. So it's interesting to see. Anyway, we end up Q and Picard end up going into Chateau Picard, and we see essentially what is equivalent to slaves.
How yesterday's Enterprise of him.
How very yesterday's Enterprise, which happens to be a line that is actually said by Q. Very cool callback, and almost even a fourth wall thing, even when you think about it.
Yeah.
But we see mostly Vulcans and Romulans, basically, who are enslaved at Chateau Picard. Here, they're doing all the different chores and stuff that are going on.
Do we know some of them are Vulcans? I just assumed they were all Romulans.
We don't know. I guess I'm presuming that or whatever. I'm apparently having a hard time. I guess I shouldn't have drank before I got onto the podcast today. No, I'm just kidding.
Tea, Earl Grey, hot.
Yeah, but I like that we still have blood running out of his nose. I thought that was a cool extra touch. It's not just the dried up thing. Yeah, but you can actually see it's building up on his lip and dripping and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. But the two of them talking here, like there's anger. There's a lot of anger between these two actors, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
The two characters, to see them both very angry at each other is like, Picard's always been angry at Q. That's nothing new. But it's a new anger, especially when he sees the fact that he's got like servants and stuff like that. That's bothering him a lot. Then they kind of go into this it's an office / war room, I guess. And this is where we find out that Picard in this version of the timeline is essentially what is he, a commander? General Picard. So we see this, which looks very close to what was the Borg Queen in the first episode. Not the exact same thing though. So maybe this is a foot soldier version of that in this timeline. Who knows? It could also be just the Queen, one of the queens in this episode. I like the fact that we got to see phasers and stuff like that. There's actually a lot of, if you really go in close on some of this stuff, you'll see some interesting things, such as there's a weapon named after Vash, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of cool little Easter eggs, which I think Trek Central is doing a video of that. So hopefully that'll be released. They usually do like an Easter eggs video. So we're going to see that, I'm sure. But we got to see some really cool stuff. I couldn't grab it too easily, but some of these weapons are pretty cool to look at. A lot of detail to props.
Disruptor there, and
like when you think about it, man, the props alone in the first 2 episodes have been fantastic. They've shown a lot of really cool stuff.
They sort of kept the aesthetic alive, which I was so worried about. I thought they were just everything.
But I'm sure somebody's going to get some nice high res captures of these nameplates, so we can see what all of them are. I know from reading that somebody has already deciphered one of them as being a Vosh weapon, and then we start seeing skulls.
This is crazy.
So this is we're thinking this is most likely what's the guy's name from the Ferengi?
Rom.
Well, not specifically Rom, but what do they call their head guy?
The Nagus.
The Nagus, yeah. So we're guessing this is a Nagus of some sort.
He seems to be knocking off heads.
We have a very cool Borg skull. I thought that was really neat to see. Very cool. And then we have just a skull of a good old Vulcan, which this is actually Sarek's skull.
Yep.
Which I thought was kind of interesting. And we have
General Martok.
Yeah, there you go. And here's a nice little zoomed out scene. Very cool. A lot of war trophies, I guess, is a good way to look at it. So obviously military is a big thing. Yeah, a big thing. I like the fact that they all have their own weapons underneath. And we find out later that, like, you know, Picard, General Picard is like killing these people in like the gates of Vulcan and stuff like that. Like he's a warmonger. Like this guy is massive, right? And some more cool shots and stuff. And they're having kind of a discussion, and Q's kind of like, you're an asshole in this timeline. Like you're basically, that's the summary of it. Obviously watch the episode to see all the dialogue. I'm not going to quote it word for word, but there's a lot of great dialogue in this episode. I thought it was great. Even with Jurati has some great awesome dialogue. Yeah, I'm so shocked by Jurati in this season so far.
I loved Jurati.
I hated Jurati in the first season. She's a terrible character, but this season so far have been great. Now this is obviously not the Enterprise. This is actually I can't remember the exact name that they said it was, but clearly not at least the Enterprise that we're aware of. I guess this is what he ended up doing, but it's kind of hard to see. I think I got a better screenshot later on. But basically it's a battle with Borg cubes. Is this painting depicts. And then we see the synthetic again from the first episode. Well, the end of the first episode, I guess, which is what's his name? Buckley or something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, we'll call him Buckley for now, but it's something like that, like a very one-word name and stuff like that. And he's basically his assistant, the general's assistant. He does refer to him as general all the time. Which is interesting. And Picard is just he's dumbfounded by this. He's like, where am I? What's going on? I really like the fact that everybody has been brought in, and it's just they're all just thrown into this universe. They're aware of the fact that they're not supposed to be here, and they get it, but they are dumbfounded by what's around them. Like they're in shock. Like it's great how they've all portrayed that, which I find is very cool as well. Don't know why I have the screenshot. I must have just hit the button. Here's a little bit cleaner version of it. This was in the study, but same idea. But I do like the fact that it looks like it's a shattered world as well. If you notice, the saucer section actually is in slates. It's in pieces. So that leads me to believe that maybe there's some sort of energy weapon or something like that. Who knows? Either way, cool painting. I hope maybe one day I can get that on a poster. That'd be neat.
Exactly. I was thinking.
Then Picard ends up seeing a hollow version of himself, and he's doing, I guess, one of his famous speeches, and he's basically talking about how essentially, you know, the only good universe is a universe where humans control it, right? Like so it's a very totalitarian type environment. Very cool. Nothing we didn't expect. I don't think. I think you and I both expected that pretty easily, but it's cool to see them play it out. But I like the anger in this hologram. I thought that was really neat as well. You know, so very cool. Again, I have some screenshots which are just random. Again, we're spending money here, man. Like they're doing a good job. I thought like this was a great setup shot for San Francisco. This is what it looks like now with the solar domes over it. I like the fact, if you notice, a lot of the buildings are very predominant. They're very architecturally fallacies, I guess, for lack of a better definition. When we saw the skyline in the first episode, it's a much different skyline, a lot more pleasant. So they've even put a lot of detail in that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Tons of detail in this
episode. And then we get to Seven. Seven wakes up, and I love how they've done the hide the eye side. They do this for at least several scenes before we actually get to see what her other side of her face looks like. Obviously, this was done as just more of a joke than anything, but it was interesting to see. Jerry Ryan does a fantastic job. She wakes up, and you believe she is completely disjointed. Like you're just like, wow, like, what's going on here? Where am I? Like she's totally confused. Even
she's just gonna have the biggest change because she now doesn't have any of her implants, so
yeah,
she doesn't have that
and they've alluded
capacity.
they've alluded that she has like a almost like a sixth sense because of these implants and stuff, and that's now gone, right? So she doesn't have that anymore. So it's got to be very, discombobulating to do that. We get a nice little shot of the emblems that they're all wearing. Very, very fascist looking. They did a great job on the thing. I'm interested to know what the three belts mean. I'm wondering if those are like the planets that they've conquered so far or something like that. Who knows?
Well, they've conquered more than that based on what
even just based on the
rebels say later.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Then she looks at herself in the mirror, and we finally get to see the other side of her face. Very cool opening shot. She's dumbfounded. She's like, what the hell is going on here? Right? Like she literally just woke up from, some sort of passing out event or whatnot. And,
they thought they were dead. They thought they were blowing up.
Yeah. She also realizes she's married, which is also a very interesting thing for her. And at this point she's confused.
To Commander Chakotay?
Not exactly. But anyway, we get this guy, which turns out is actually the real life father of Soji.
Oh, really?
That's my understanding. I haven't looked that up to confirm it, but that's what I've heard. That he is he's actually the real life father of the girl who plays Soji. So very, very cool that her dad gets to be part of it, if that is true. And then you see them kind of walking through. I tried to get some external shots so we can kind of see what the environment's like. I like the fact that the emblem's even more detailed on here. We have almost these little piece feather things or whatever they are, the leaves or feathers. We have those underneath it. There. Yeah, very common in Greek and whatnot. But I thought that was interesting. That's there. The uniforms I thought were interesting. Subtle, but still very, what's the word? Dictatorish, I guess. Obviously not a word.
It's
but
the all gray and
yeah.
Like, as soon as you take the color away from everything, it just doesn't seem very
good. But we see wedding shots of her. These are all animated, which I thought were kind of neat. A nice little nod to have some extra accessories going on there. And then she's actually looking up something. And it turns out she's looking up Mr. Rios himself. Trying to figure out where he is in all this, because she's
Cristobal Rios.
Yes, so Colonel Cristobal. And the thing I thought was interesting is actually, if we look at the font that's used here, the font that's actually used here is from the motion pictures, which I thought was quite interesting. So a neat little nod anyway. But the Federation is now called the Confederation, which is interesting, I thought. I also like the fact that it has con on the front. I thought that was kind of funny. I'm sure that's just it's a fake federation. Okay, we'll just call it the Confederation. So, and if you notice, some people actually pronounce it like that, Confederation, right? Instead of Confederation, right? So interesting. And I don't know why I zoomed into this, but I guess probably just to get the information that's written on it. Nothing that important really, but interesting nonetheless.
They're at war with Vulcan.
Still. Yeah, they're currently at war with Vulcan, and Rios is there, which I thought was interesting. Then we get a nice little shot of the ship. Again, spending money. That's what they seem to be doing in the second season. They're spending cash, which is cool, because it gives us some awesome visual effects. This is cool. I thought looks really nice. And basically, he's fighting in almost a squadron of them. There's a squadron of these ships. Which we don't know if his is actually, the La Serena, but I don't think they actually name the ship. But if you notice, the ship is very close to the same thing. design wise, but obviously the lighting's different, stuff like that. Rios is interesting, and then we see Vulcan. So he's right at the front. This is Vulcan. This is their attack on Vulcan right now is happening. Then we zoom into his comm badge because his comm badge goes off. And we notice he's got the one stripe there, which makes him, I believe, in this universe. Black gloves.
In the evil world when everyone's wearing
everybody's got black gloves for sure. Yeah. But this emblem I thought was kind of interesting behind him as well. So I'm guessing that's a squadron emblem. But I thought was more interesting is the fact that he's got the one bar, which I think in this world means commander. Because I think they called him Commander Rios a couple times, but I could be wrong on that. Yeah, it wasn't captain. I know that for sure, but I'm guessing they have a slightly different military grading system in this universe.
Well, yeah, they have generals.
Yeah, which is something obviously Starfleet doesn't have. But anyway, some cool shots, and then we get Okinawa. Okay, so here we are in Japan. Cool little skylines. We see all of a sudden an explosion on a building. And then we get to see people running, and here's Elnor. And Elnor, even though still doesn't have much to do in this episode, he still kicks some good ass.
And he has an awesome line later.
He does have an awesome line, which I'll let you spoil later. Sure. But yeah, very cool. So this girl, I know her from somewhere, but I didn't get a chance to look it up. I want to say she's playing Faye in the live action version of Cowboy Bebop, but I'm not sure if it's the same woman or not. But very similar features and height even.
Since you've looked up the cast, I have a question for you later.
I haven't looked up all the cast yet, so
okay,
we'll see. I'm not sure why I got this shot, but I got it. Anyway, what ends up happening is as he's running through the streets, a squad just comes in on him and draws on him. And at that point, a masked person shows up. And this masked person just takes out all the squad. Just zoom, zoom, zoom. Done. And it's Raffi. Okay, so Raffi
recognize that gorgeous hair anywhere.
Yeah, the only thing I can honestly say I didn't like about this episode is she does make reference to Jean-Luc Picard as JL once in this episode, which is an instant turnoff for me. I hate that. But
do you?
I don't like the whole JL thing. I think it's silly. But anyway, it is what it is. And then they embrace, which I thought was kind of nice. You know, she's really a mother figure to him, so it's nice that she gets to reunite with him. Then she has to fake that she's caught him because she still has the people that she's running with her. So that's an issue, right? So
luckily she's their squadron leader.
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just gonna bring this off of full screen for a second here because I think we have a couple comments. We do. We have tons of comments. Dave is letting us know that happy Eradication Day.
To you as well.
To you as well. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but it is one way or the other. The thing he also mentions, which I thought was interesting, is the comm batches can also double as throwing stars.
They are big and sharp.
Very, very true. Very true. He also mentioned something that I also thought was stupid, which was I'm out on the Girardi and Rios relationship.
I was gonna say I'm just in on it finally.
You're in on it? Okay, well, yeah. Dave has left some more comments, which we'll add a little bit later on. But let's keep going on this.
I thought they were funny. It's like a bickering couple this year.
I definitely like Girardi more in this season. 100% more. So anyway, we have Raffi. She kind of takes him, and it looks like a hostage, and then we go to the next scene, which is basically Seven and her husband, which I guess is second in command of the military. And she's president. We find out she's the president of this order.
Which is funny since she was married to a U.S. senator in real life.
Yes, that's true, actually. But the one thing I did like was the line where when Raffi finds out that she's president, she's like, "Oh, yeah, she's gonna have fun running with that." It's like, oh, okay, there we go. And there's some commitment jokes as well because the two of them are obviously they were a thing at one point. Then we all of a sudden find out Girardi's here, and she's in a lab, and she's talking to a cat, which is none other than Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, I thought that might have been him.
Yeah. So, and actually, I really like the animation style on this cat. I'm hoping they make this a screensaver or something that I can download later because he's pretty awesome. I also like his attitude too. And then she even makes a reference that even in every universe that she's ever in, she's a lonely woman who talks to machines. Yeah. So I thought that was a nice little thing. I also love some of the facial expressions the cat has. Like he's just so disinterested in things and stuff like that. But this is actually this is the scene where they walk in on Jody, the husband of Seven, and the cat clearly doesn't like him. So there you go. But anyway, Jody is walking around a lab, and we find out that they have a specimen. So they have a specimen in their possession, which they're going to be doing something with. But at this point, we only know about Eradication Day, but we don't know what it's really for. Turns out, interesting enough, they have a Borg queen. They have a Borg queen.
That's not Alice Krieg, is it?
No, it is not. No, it's not Alice Krieg. This is a different actress. The only thing I didn't like about this, that actually it was interesting because I was watching Jessie Gender. I don't know if you know who she is, but Jessie Gender does a lot of Star Trek stuff as well. And she made a mention, which I actually agree with her completely. The problem with this is she doesn't have that sexiness to her. There's no sexy in this. And I agree with Jessie on this one. I think she's 100% correct. The thing that we like about the Queen is, and as she stated it, I think the way she said it is, you didn't know if she was going to fuck you or kill you. And that's something that, excuse the language, but that is something that I think is really important to have for the Borg Queen. And clearly this isn't the Borg Queen that's like that. So I don't know if that was done on purpose or if it was just because this actress isn't used to playing the Queen. Allison
but it's
Krieg,
also like
Alice Krieg,
a queen in a different situation.
It is a queen in a different situation, so benefit of the doubt. Then I guess, yeah,
maybe she could
downtrodden.
turn on the sexy if she was feeling a little better.
Exactly, yeah. But you do see some sinister stuff out of her a little bit later in the episode. You see some kind of some.
It's funny when Jody calls 7 by accident, and then she has to make up that story about them being old drinking buddies. She's like, "Oh yeah, well, she used to drink seven
drinks, yeah, seven shots, yeah." Stuff like that. We've got another shot of the emblem from outside. I thought that was interesting to see. And then we have Picard showing up. So he's showing up at this building, which we know Jody is in. But we get some really distraught looking shots of him. I think this is great. I think Patrick Stewart's doing exactly what he should be here. I believe he's distraught. I believe he's angry at this situation. He's really doing a great job on that. So the next thing we see is we actually see Raffi showing up, and at this point we don't actually, in this clip we don't really see it, but behind these two guys is actually what's his name, Raffi's kid,
Elnor.
Yeah, Elnor is there, and Elnor actually gets thrown to the ground, which I thought was interesting as well. So there he is getting thrown to the ground, and then we see him on the ground.
He has to take a few shots this episode.
I'm thinking this guy, if they ever do a new version of The Crow, they might have him do Brandon Lee, because I think he does a pretty good job. He's got the same kind of physique to him, and he does the black hair really well. So I think, I don't know if that's his natural color, but I think he looks good. So I think we can definitely get it. We get these guys who basically say, okay, well, we'll take this asshole into custody. And Raffi's like, oh, no, I'm keeping this one alive. This one's mine. And she makes up kind of an excuse, and they say, well, who cleared this? This isn't something that you're allowed to do. And then all of a sudden Picard shows up. And Picard's
cleared by me.
I cleared this, and he's very grumpy and angry, which he knows kind of how he talks in this universe. So
yeah, watching that makes sense. Was smart.
Makes sense that they put that in. So I thought that was cool that they did that. The thing I like about this, the writing in this season so far, and if you agree with me or don't, please let me know, is I like the fact that they're really building things better. They're not just kind of throwing things in for fun. They're actually using everything they throw in. They're either calling it later on in the episode. So all the major things, like there was some stuff that was just totally wasted in the first season that we don't really touch on.
Those Romulans, the two younger Romulans, didn't need to be in that series at all. I didn't feel like.
True.
Narek, was it, and his sister? Like why were they even there?
Well, I think they were supposed to be kind of the hostile yet lovable characters on the board cube, but it just didn't work for me. I didn't like it.
Me neither.
We already have a huge cast of characters. It's hard to keep giving us more and more and more. So
I like this cast of what we're left with.
What we're left with so far, I'm okay with. So anyway, Picard was called to meet Seven. Now, actually, the one thing we totally brushed over, which I totally forgot about, was the call with Rios, because the first thing Seven does is she calls and tries to communicate with Rios, and both of them are unsure if they both are aware of where they are or who they are. So they both kind of play back and forth, and she's like, well, we're on a secure channel. If anything weird, you can speak freely. And he's like, Seven? And she's like, oh, thank God. Right. Like she's very relieved that he's actually, he's sharing this hell.
And they all keep doing that through this episode. They're like, oh
yeah. God, and actually the other scene that we totally missed as well was when he was Picard was served what we thought was tea, but it was actually black Colombian coffee.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, now I know what Dante was talking about with the rings of hell.
Yeah.
Right. Because he doesn't have his
ring of hell.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was interesting. We got some more beauty shots.
We also forgot to mention a nod to a certain general.
Oh yes, Mr. Sisko himself.
Mr. General Sisko.
So in this timeline, Sisko is a general, and he's apparently alive and well. So that's good to hear. I don't think you're going to see Avery Brooks anytime soon, if
Definitely
at all.
Not.
I don't think that's going to happen. But I have it under good authority that's not going to happen. But anyway, we get a nice little external shot where we can see more of that grid. I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like that they cover the grid only covers the land masses, which I thought was interesting. So I'm not totally sure if it was just because this is kind of the angle, but if you look, especially over here in this area here, you can really see how it's kind of only covering the landmass stuff. So I'm not totally sure if that's on purpose or if it's just for the effect. I don't know. But either way, I thought it was neat. We get some other cool, but now I will say the makeup on this Borg Queen looks pretty good.
Oh yeah.
I really like the divots on her head. They did a great job. It really shows depth. And it shows that there's like wires going through her and stuff. I thought that was really cool to see. I think they did a great job with this. And so far, like this season 2, man, I hope that they didn't just throw all the money at the beginning, because if the end looks like crap, I'm going to be very disappointed. But so far, they've got me.
Pacing in this one as well is.
Pacing is fantastic in this episode as well. I'm really hoping they keep it the pacing. I know Steve Shives, actually, who's been on this channel before, he mentioned that he's really upset that it seems like they're dragging again out the thing, but I think they have to. Agree. I don't agree with them on that one, even though I normally agree with everything Steve says, but we can disagree and still be cool. But I think they're doing the pacing's great. I think what's going to end up happening is we're going to see the time travel at the beginning of the next episode, and then we're going to get kind of the first hostility in the old way, like in the old time, which turns out to be 2 years from us right now. So 2024, I believe, is where it's supposed to take place in Los Angeles. So I would imagine that probably saved them some money on a lot of set stuff, but we'll see, I guess. But I'm sure they're gonna have some cool effects and stuff anyway. But and that's something that we do figure out, that they've clued in that the only way they're going to get home. And I love the fact that they called back to the idea that Kirk did this a couple times.
Oh, did you get that as early as I did? As soon as he's like, there are Cruder, I'm like,
I'm like, is he gonna say it? And he's like,
slingshot around the sun.
Oh, but they basically said, well, yeah, but the problem is Kirk had Spock. We don't have a Spock. And then they're like,
even a 7 with implants.
Yeah, but we do have a Borg Queen, right? So now they have a reason to save her, right? Because we find out in Eradication Day, the whole point of Eradication Day is to essentially eradicate the last of the species. So the Borg Queen is the last of the Borg. She is the last one, and they're going to kill her in front of people. For this Eradication Day. This is what they do, apparently.
But we've seen this with other Borg Queens as well, is that they do sort of have that temporal awareness.
They have this intuition thing. Now, this was something that originally, and I know Dave is going to get all upset about this comment, but yes, this was beta canon, and yes, there was books about this, and I understand that. And no, it hasn't been in any of the mainstream series, blah blah blah. But anyway, it doesn't mean they can't bring it.
Books they all count, the good ones.
Yeah, well, I think that's what a lot of people believe. I myself, I'm not a massive of the book fan, so I can't say I've read a lot of them, but I read some of them. But I'm not going to argue with it. But if Dave was here, he would definitely argue for sure. So anyway, it is what it is. So the next we see all of a sudden teleportation, and I can't remember if that was them teleporting.
He just ignores Jody. She's like, "Hey," he's just like,
yeah, he's just like, "Hi, Agnes," and he
I don't
keeps
even think he
by.
says anything to her.
Well, no, because he's so set. He's at this point, he's like, I gotta get out of here. Like, Jody, it's great to see you, but I have other things to do. Sorry. You know, maybe we'll chat later.
Stare down the Borg Queen here.
Yeah. So anyway, they're basically having discussions. I don't know why I got some of these are just screenshots for the sake of screenshots, but I love the interactions between Seven and the Queen, and then later on Picard and the Queen. So Rios is like, I got a fix on you guys, but I can't get you out. Like I can't teleport you in. I don't know what's going on here, but you know, there's something going on. And that's when Seven says, "Oh yeah, by the way, in my briefing, they mentioned that they upped security and made it so people can't do that." Right. So I guess for Eradication Day. Yes. We get some cool panel shots of Rios. The one thing I thought they did a really good job is I don't know if you noticed, but the HUD actually follows his eyes. So as he's using the controls, every time his head moves, the controls move with him, which I thought was really cool. Nice little added touch.
Blink to click.
And these are obvious. What's that?
Blink to click.
No, he still does the touch
click.
stuff. Yeah, he still does the touch stuff, but I thought it was pretty cool that way. Anyway, Picard's like, we got to do something. And at this point, all of a sudden there's a lockdown and the Borg Queen's pod gets pulled back in. And the reason being is because it's about to be put up onto the stage. So I guess they're prepping it for that. And at this point, it's a lockout and they can't access the Borg Queen, but they need her. So at this point, the idea is, well, Picard's the one that's supposed to be executing her. Might as well just keep going on with what we're going on with here.
But they have to ask her. They're like, "Will you help us?"
Yeah.
It's not like they have anything she really needs other than to live.
She doesn't want to be there either because she knows that there's something wrong with the timeline. She knows it's been broken. And we're pretty sure Q is the reason why it's broken, for obvious reasons. Then, you know, Colonel Dickface shows up. I don't know what this guy's name is, but what's that?
Colonel Soji.
Colonel Soji, we'll just call him. But anyway, there's no love between these two. I have no idea why this is a marriage because he doesn't show any sort of affection towards her at all.
Like, well, he's suspicious of her, and he was pretty much right away.
Yeah,
she's not acting like her counterpart very well,
which would make sense. She's clearly not the counterpart that he's expecting.
She's 7 of 9. She's not an actor.
Yes. Now, I don't know if you caught this, but Adam Sung is right here, which is interesting.
Is that who that was?
That's Data.
Yeah, how can you tell?
It's on the preview. It was much more clear to see, but yeah, Adam Sung is the tribute that's going on there. And then we start getting some cool stage shots. At this point, the two of them show up, and because she's obviously the president, she's hosting the event. And at this point, she's very suspicious on what's going on. I love the dog from the Simpsons eyes that she keeps doing. She's doing the, you know, that kind of thing. It's like the suspicious dog eyes, you know, going on. And Picard's got his sidearm and all that. I thought that was pretty cool. We got a nice little shot. I have a funny feeling they just reused the auditorium from the graduation scene in the first one, but
I think it was meant to be.
Yeah, I think it's on purpose. Yeah, I think it's literally the same auditorium, just been decked out in the different thing. All the flags are now gone, and it's one flag. You know, very, very Teletorian. I love this shot. I thought the framing was fantastic. As somebody who studies a lot of film, this to me signifies that he's slightly off tilt. And I don't know if that was done on purpose, but It could just be because, Patrick Stewart's pretty old now and maybe he's just a little off to begin with. But I like the fact that it's not perfectly centered as they usually frame this type of stuff. He's slightly off to one side, which
no, I think you're onto it there.
Kind of denotes that something's off with him, which I thought was interesting. And then we have Jody. She's hacking a communicator. She's trying to figure out a way to get through this security system that they have that's stopping them from transporting. They're trying to transport up to the La Serena or whatever it's called in this universe.
Yeah, she and Raffi are both working on it.
Yeah, they're both working on it in different ways. Yep. And at this point, you see her kind of hacking one of them. She's got it open. You can see there's a microprocessor, stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of cool that we get that kind of detail in there. Very cool that they even showed it. Details. Yeah, everything in this season so far has been details. It's very detail driven, which is great for guys like us who notice this stuff and go,
which
yay.
I think is maybe with the aesthetic I was talking about.
Yeah.
And the slightly more like Starfleet nature of it, but the last episode. But the details were standing out last episode too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So they bring up the Borg Queen right in the middle of this thing, and I guess this is going to be her execution ring. This is where they execute everybody with the last of the species.
Is this Picard, the same writing team as last season? Like, this is driving me nuts. It just seems like
I don't know.
I don't know. More this season.
Dave is the guy that we
together.
Would have for that.
It's not. Like,
it doesn't feel like we have a bunch of stories that they've put together. They're making one cohesive story.
And
this is almost like
this feels like it's just like
To me, you know what? Every time I've been watching this episode, for instance, as I'm going through this episode, I'm thinking this is like a movie.
Oh,
like they've done a really good job with the story. They're not giving
cool movie.
Well, this is what Insurrection should have been, in my opinion. But anyway, I hate Insurrection.
I like Insurrection, actually.
Yeah, well, Insurrection's one of those where some people hate it, some people like it. It's just one of those movies, right?
I used to watch it all the time on the movie.
I hate Insurrection. It's, in my opinion, the worst of the next gen movies. I love Nemesis, even though most people don't.
We're completely different people.
Yeah, people hate
perhaps
Nemesis.
Even different species, because
Nemesis
is garbage.
Yeah, I love Nemesis, but not because I consider it a good movie. Just because it's a fun movie to watch. I love Tom Hardy. Yeah, it's fun. It's so much fun. But anyway, that's a story for another day. Anyway, we see a lot of these, very dominant shots and stuff like that. I thought this was really well done. And then we cut over to Raffi, and Raffi is in some sort of control room. We really don't know what this is. We're guessing this is like a security area. And there's a couple guys working away on panels and stuff like that. And she's got a prisoner, and he's like, why the fuck do you have a prisoner here? And she's like, oh, I brought your present.
Yeah. And they just,
and they start pounding on him. And the poor guy, like he's getting his ass kicked. But we kind of figure out later on that
Raffi's not paying attention at all.
Yeah, Raffi doesn't care. Raffi's like, he's good.
Doesn't even look back to see what's happening.
I love this though, because Picard needs to know. He knows that he has to buy some time. So what is he doing? He's razzing up the group. He's going, "Come on, let's hear it. We're gonna kill the Borg."
And like the president was probably supposed to talk longer, but it's 7. She doesn't know how to act, so she just immediately like throws to Picard. She's just like, "And General Picard."
Yeah, and General Picard, and he'll kill stuff.
Buy time here.
Yeah. This is how we buy time, 7. But I love these kind of half slanted smiles and stuff that he's doing. Like he's got that, and the crowd's going wild with him. So Raffi's at a control panel. I tried to get some good shots of the control panel, but I couldn't. But basically it appears she's accessing some sort of security dome that's going on. So I'm guessing this is what's blocking the transporters and stuff like that. So she's trying to access this, and the entire time in the background, what's his name there is getting his ass kicked by these guards. Yeah, and Elnor has like handcuffs on. Like he's got handcuffs on, and Elnor is just getting a beating. And then she goes, "Okay, Elnor, you can start now," basically. And he's like,
this is all you. She's like, what are you waiting for?
And this is probably the goriest fight I've ever seen in Star Trek. Like,
this should have bothered me, but it didn't.
It didn't bother me at all. I thought this worked perfectly.
It fit his character. One, he's not Starfleet,
but he's throwing people around. He's breaking arms, and he's slitting throats and and throwing emblems at people. Like, and this is where Dave's comment of the throwing stars things comes in.
But from their
Because
perspective, there's no stakes to these deaths either, because they're about to rewrite the entire
that's
timeline.
right. So it's okay that Elnor's going a little nuts. But Elnor
she calls him
slits this guy's
show off.
throat.
It's just like showing off.
Yeah, and he's like, and she's like, show off, and he's just like, meh. So anyway, all
you
of a
let them
sudden,
beat me up for like 3 minutes.
yeah, you let him beat me up while you were trying to sit there fucking around with this panel, and you know, I'm getting my ass kicked, so I'm gonna have some fun now. So anyway, all of a sudden, I guess Raffi does her thing, and Girardi does her thing, and all of a sudden,
which
there
is
goes
good because the
Picard.
crowd was starting to turn on Picard.
Yeah. They're like,
In fact,
why aren't you killing this
they
yet?
They ran up to him with guns. They were
They were starting to get angry. Yeah,
he shot a few of them.
And all of a sudden, Seven gets beamed out, and the Queen gets beamed out, and all of a sudden, everybody is now with Rios. And we're like, okay, I love what they've done with the pod here, because she's only you know, half a being, and they got this pod that floats around, which I thought
that's
was
her stasis chamber too. That like
it's also the chamber that's keeping her alive, right? But I thought that's really interesting. Now, the one thing worth noting is that these lights back here are blue right now. It's kind of hard to see with the screenshot, but they're kind of blue.
Looks like Thor's chest.
Yeah, very much. But I think what's interesting is you see Girardi, and Girardi is they're taking off now. They're like, we got to get out of here. So Girardi's like, I'm going to break open this panel and I'm going to hook the Borg up to it because we need her to be able to control the systems, right? Which makes perfect sense. And I don't know why I got all these things. Very terrible shot of Picard, by the way. But all of a sudden we get a notification on one of the panels. The fleet have been deployed, which means they're about to be in a lot of trouble. So it's time to haul ass and get out of here. Girardi starts doing her magic, and I thought this was cool. We see these little kind of nanobot kind of things flying out of the port.
Carrios is like, whoa, this better work.
Yeah, you're like, don't you hook her up to my ship. She's gonna kill it, right? Yeah. So anyway, and we see the grin, and then we start seeing these again. This is hard, but they actually go darker. They go kind of a greeny darker, which I thought was kind of a neat little effect, which actually we saw earlier. And then all of a sudden, some people beam onto the ship, including Seven's husband, and they shoot Elnor. Elnor gets shot. Yeah, and here's the guys, and he's got a security detail with him, and Picard's like, whoa, what's going on here? Whoa. And then all of a sudden, we're done. This is it. This is where it ends.
Elnor's dying on the floor.
Now, I don't know about you, Davan, and I don't want to speak for you, okay? But
go ahead, speak for me.
I think you enjoyed the hell out of this episode because I did.
I did.
And I think it's a great episode. This is a great second episode. I'm really excited about this season. And I hated that they ended it right here. And I know they did that on purpose. Obviously, it's a cliffhanger. But I want more. Like I was throbbing at the mouth at this point. I'm like, give me more. And it's like, I didn't even get a preview or anything. I got nothing. I got credits and that was it.
Yeah.
So
this whole episode blew my mind.
Very cool.
It was like a mirror universe episode, which I do not like in Star Trek, and I love.
I love the mirror episodes. I think they're a nice little way to get past the, past.
And I'm not big on the timey-wimey episodes. It's that.
Yeah.
And I loved it. So like, all the things I don't like in Star Trek, it's somehow making me okay.
Yeah. So Dave says production values through the roof. I completely agree with Dave. They've done great. I hope that they keep that through. I'm sure they're going to save some money when they're in 2024. So I'm sure they've spent their budget here, and then they're going to tone it down for a little bit, and then probably our finale is going to be really nice. But I have a lot of questions that I thought I would already know the answer to. I want to know what's going on with Q. What's going on with Q here? We have any thoughts on that?
I do think he's potentially dying.
I think he's either dying or sick.
Red herring, but
yeah, but like I don't know if you noticed, but even in his eyes and stuff, there was crap in the eyes and everything. Like it was brutal to see him.
In the way when he started talking about the ravages of time and how it had
ravages of time, yeah, which I thought, and there was a lot of cool quotes in this episode. Like there was. Like I don't know if IMDb's got them up yet, but
it was really well written.
Yeah, very, very cool, and I thought that was great. Dave also mentions here that there was Klingon and Bajoran disruptors in that scene. The scene that we saw earlier with the skulls and everything and all the weapons that were around.
There's a thing on Mechleth as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. We now have canon skulls for Cardassians, Ferengi, Klingons, and more. Fun times. So Dave's happy about that, and so am I, because we've never really seen their skulls.
I
We've
like
seen
seeing the
some of them.
Ferengi skull. I was
The Ferengi
interested.
skull is cool. Yeah, I never thought their ears would actually have bone structure as well. I thought they
Yeah,
would just be
I want
like
one. I
ours,
want a
right? Yeah.
Ferengi skull. Is that weird?
Well, and I'm sure there's going to be 3D printed ones soon. I'm sure somebody's going to find a way to do that happen. But I don't agree with Dave on this one, which is I'm out on the Girardi Rios relationship. I like the little quips that were going on between the
I
two
thought
of
they were
them.
funny. He's like, we're doing this now.
Yeah, we're doing this now, which is refreshing compared to watching, for instance, the reboot of Star Trek with Chris Pine and all that, where we have Spock and Uhura constantly bickering and arguing. It's terrible.
I think most of the romances that have
Especially
been done in modern
that
Star
second
Trek
movie was terrible
have
for
been
that.
terrible. And like,
Yeah.
see, what's really I found interesting about this episode specifically, and even the last one, is it does feel like modern TV and modern storytelling to a degree.
Yes.
But like 99 times out of 100, modern storytelling doesn't resonate with me. Like,
the thing,
I start a million shows, I get 2 episodes into most of them and have to get out of it because it's just dreadful.
Yeah, the thing that pissed me off the most about this episode, quite honestly, is the fact that it ended.
Yeah, I feel like this is how you do modern storytelling, right? You can do that fast-paced.
I almost have like a vibe, like like you remember HBO a couple years back when they were doing like they were really high on production and story value, like for instance Sopranos, stuff like that. You know, you had those type of things. This is kind of getting back to that to me. Which I think is interesting. Discovery, even though I think there are some good things about Discovery, I really am not a fan of Discovery. And one of the reasons for that is because we have pacing that's never right, and we have writing that is, in my opinion, terrible.
Like disjointed the way the first season of Picard was, but like times 11.
Yeah, and that's
so hard to follow.
And I'm sure the guys that are following up with us on this channel, because they're going to be doing they're
gonna, if they see this, they will curse our names.
we might jump in on their feed again because that was.
But we have more fans than they do, so
right now we do, yeah. So you know, and keep them coming. We appreciate everybody that is watching. We seem to get watches. We never get watches live, but we get a lot of rewatches, which is quite interesting. So I thought that was pretty cool. But either way, we appreciate everybody and all that. But overall, I would say this is another win. You know, we've had 2 wins in a row so far. I'm hoping that we're going to get 3. I think the next episode's going to be fantastic. I want to see them. I want to see them get in.
I want to see them slingshot around that sun. I mean,
I hope they actually do that, and it's not going to be like something silly. I hope they literally show me doing a slingshot. I think that'd be great.
If they don't,
I love the fact that they threw the
Kirk
thing in there.
The Borg Queen alive.
Yeah, well,
if they're not going to do that.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure
7 and Picard would be the first ones to kill her, probably, if they don't need her. Certainly 7.
Yeah, well, 7 for sure. 7's going to snap her neck or something.
Yeah,
kind of like they did in First Contact. Same idea. You know, snap into the old neck kind of thing. But overall, that, you know, as again, I won't speak for you, but I think it's a fantastic second episode. I wasn't even excited about the first season like I am right now of this season. So, and I'm a massive Picard fan. He's my favorite character in all of Star Trek. I've always thought he was.
Mine's the good general that they just mentioned.
Mr. Sisko himself, which is unfortunate that we're not going to see it, but you know, it would be. It's cool that we got a callback. It's cool that we got a callback anyway. So that's, you know, we're assuming it's the same Sisko. We don't really know. They never say Ben or anything. Watch it be Joe or something.
It's Joe Sisko.
Joe Sisko, Joe Sisko.
Grandpa Joe.
He ain't making no food no more. He's killing people, you know. So he's making food out of people. Who knows? But either way, so that would be that would take Star Trek in a way that we've never seen. Cannibalism, you know. But anyway, overall, I think again, I have no complaints here. I thought the pacing was great. The only thing I didn't like was the JL thing. And that's how she identified him.
I like it because it shows a unique familiarity that they have.
And that's the reason why they did it. And I understand why they did it. I just hate the JL thing. I think it's so disrespectful. This is a man that's been called Picard for the longest time.
That's their relationship.
Yeah, well, it's at least what they want us to believe.
He's the character that sees through his facade that he puts out there all the time.
He's just the teddy bear, and she knows it, and all that. Yeah. But anyway, we have a lot of other things that go on this channel. I don't have any of the promo material because for some strange reason we're not
going to rate
enough
this
to have it. We're not rating it. We're not rating it. No. Well, are we rating it? Oh, we do have a rating thing.
Yeah, we rate these episodes.
I don't know if I still have this link. Give me a second.
We'll just say it, and the whole thing can be done up for the next one.
We'll do it later. Adam just shows up right at the end. All right, well, let's put him in.
All right, let's bring Adam in.
Here's Adam.
The end of the rating.
Adam. Dude, we're done. We started 8.
Did you show up an hour late?
You're kidding me.
Classic okay. Adam shows up a day late to my podcast.
Day late time. Yeah, there you go. But anyway, Adam.
It's okay. He's jet lagged. He's been crossing.
We said it. We said everything that you would have said anyway. I'm sure. But anyway, why don't you give us a couple thoughts?
Adam?
Oh my god! Like I feel like I'm watching a movie.
Yeah, that's exactly what I just said.
It's so good.
I'm
right?
like, it's movie quality. This should have been Insurrection.
Yeah,
no, it should have been Nemesis. Would you get it?
No, don't take away my Nemesis. I love it.
Everything good Nemesis gave us was Blue Skies.
Unbelievable how good this is.
Yeah.
And
like my favorite.
That's how both of us started this podcast. We both said, we were surprised that we liked it because we thought that this episode was going to be just terrible.
No,
you're echoing through Adam's thing because he doesn't have headphones on.
Adam, you don't have headphones on.
Sorry, 1 second.
It's fine.
That's okay. You're done anyway, but
we're almost done anyway.
Wait, you showed up in time to rate the episode.
But we wanted to hear your views on it, though.
We did. How about that General Cisco nod?
Oh, I think he's trying to move his stuff over. Tell you what, let's kick him out for a minute until he's ready to go.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, you good? Yep, I can hear you.
No echo?
Yeah,
nope.
No, it's gone. Yeah,
no, it's gone now. We're good. Anyway, tell us what you thought. I look for the.
First of all, I only got a minute because I know you guys are done now that I didn't know that, but now I know.
No. Take your time.
So we went for like 2 hours last week. So.
Last week's was fantastic. What a great start.
Yep.
This is movie quality right off the bat. I can't believe how good this is. The introduction of all the past characters, and how Captain Rios became a captain in Starfleet. Raffi's back engaged. Like it's amazing.
Cool
start.
Cigars, smoking captain.
Yes, that was great.
Cool,
so unlike Starfleet, but so cool. Yeah. And then obviously Q's introduction. John Delancey looks fantastic. He's aged very well.
What do you think of Angry Q?
Angry Q, but
love Angry Q.
That transformation from what he looked like to present day or whatever.
See, a lot of people complained about that, but I thought it was great.
No, I was wondering how they were going to explain that, and they did.
I think it was done great.
Yeah, because my only complaint from the first episode was actually the thing about. I found the thing about Guinan's age and appearance clunky and unnecessary.
I didn't even.
They could have just said she reached the age where Elorian's aging starts to speed up.
It was unnecessary, but I understand why they did it. Right, like I understand because she probably doesn't feel comfortable coming back, especially she's a much heavier lady than she was.
Like an age when they want to, no one would ever choose to do that. Like it makes it unbelievable. My friends were aging. It's like your friends have been aging your entire
but her logic is she was fitting into the environment that she's in, right?
Yeah,
which I guess in a way makes sense. But did you notice the 10 forward reference, by the way?
Yes.
Adam?
That's cool.
So did I. Davan didn't. I was surprised. I had to tell him that one.
Yeah. Well, I was watching the baby at the same time I was watching.
Oh, then your excuse.
Well, you got an excuse, yeah, for sure.
But so that ended. By the way, I like the relationship too with the Romulan chick. What's her name? Valeris.
Oh yeah, she's awesome. I just loved that actress. I don't know who she is, but
she's fantastic.
She was. Yeah. And
she's
again,
fantastic.
My own feeling is that you dumbass, you should have kissed her.
Well, and that's what everybody was on about, right? So, but anyway, we have to do ratings. So perfect timing, Adam, because we can get your rating for the first episode as well. So let me throw that.
I believe we both gave a 10, didn't we?
Actually, I gave it a 9. The first episode. Yeah. So I had trouble with a couple things, but anyway, let me add this in. Let's make it big as well.
I found the Guinan thing clunky, but it didn't ruin it for me.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, Adam, what's your rating on that first episode?
I did give it a 10. I remember.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we did get a 10 on there for you. Okay,
Right.
So this one, I'm gonna give this one. You know what? I'm doing a 9.5. This is just as good, if not better. I'm good with that.
Okay.
Davan, where are
Another
you?
10 for me.
Another 10. Wow, 2 10s in a row.
I said last week that's going to be the only 10 we probably get for the season, and wow, I'm so glad I was wrong. The next one could be just as good. I want to see that slingshot around the sun.
By the way, sorry, I didn't get to talk too much about this one, but the reference to Kirk's Enterprise.
So good.
So cool.
So awesome. Yeah. So awesome for sure.
A solid 10 for me again. This is movie quality, guys, 10. And I am not disappointed.
So let me ask you, as somebody who does enjoy Discovery a lot more than I do, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about the difference there?
Okay. This is amazing writing, amazing acting. The way this show looks is fantastic. They're not sparing any expenses.
Yes. I agree.
This has taken Star Trek to a new level, and now that I have to go back and rate the Discovery episodes, I got to bring them down a bit.
And you're doing that right after this podcast, aren't you?
Well, I wasn't.
Oh, you're not on that one.
I don't know what I'm doing now. I have no idea.
You might as well go join them. We crashed their podcast last week.
We crashed it, so we might crash it this week too, just for fun.
Well, I haven't watched it.
We didn't either, but we still crashed their episode because it was funny. But just to make sure that they knew that we were more important than them.
If all three of us crash it, they'll be super pissed.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, we should do that. But anyway, well, I'll send you guys the link and we can crash it. But anyway, overall, Adam, as we were saying, we said the exact same thing. Like this is movie, man. Like this is, I actually compared this to basically like the quality of like HBO a couple years ago. When HBO was in their heyday and they were doing like The Sopranos and stuff like that. Very good quality writing, good pacing. Everything about it is just done right.
Better
and
than
that's
the
what I like so
TNG
far.
Movies, other than First Contact.
The only, except for First Contact, maybe. First Contact is very high on my list, as it is to a lot of people, I think. But
First Contact is fantastic.
This blows away pretty much every next gen movie, in my opinion, with the exception of First Contact. Yeah, for sure.
It's better than the J.J. Abrams movies. This is the best modern Star Trek we've gotten.
Oh, here he goes.
Oh, he's a defender, a JJ defender.
Yeah, he is a JJ defender.
The first one was okay, but
they did do some lighting, the lighting flares in this episode too. So I guess maybe that's your callback there. But
Listen, guys, you're right, Jody. This is HBO quality. This is Game of Thrones. This is like
very high production. Yeah.
I do not like. I have to wait till next week now, and this is being.
That's exactly what I said. I said literally when I saw that last shot where Picard's got his hands up, and they're on the ship, and things are about to go hairy. It then cuts the credits. So I'm thinking, okay, well they're going to give me a preview of the next episode. Nope, nothing.
I think I audibly said like, no, and it ended.
Yeah, you know what this is like. I said this on Discovery, and I'll say it again here. It's like Next Generation was in the 90s, the early 90s, when you had to wait a week. Best of both worlds. I got to wait a week for that. Holy crap!
I don't recall having
that
the feeling.
A summer. You had to wait for that one.
Yeah, you had to wait for a summer for Best of Both Worlds. I remember that myself. But yeah, that was a big event too. Like I remember seeing the coming in 1 month. The second half of this episode. You're just like, I can't wait. Give it to me now. But I don't think I felt like this on any other Enterprise, like any other Star Trek series in a long time.
Probably since then.
Probably since then. Now, mind you, I'm a big Enterprise fan, and I watched all the Enterprise stuff when they first. I
love Enterprise too.
And some of their two-parters were pretty good too, I thought. But
the three-parters in season 4, some of those.
Oh, the three-parters in season 4 are some of the best Star Trek you'll find.
Yeah.
But this blows away.
They already decided to cut the show, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. But anyway,
so overall, during the Mirror Darkly when they were filming.
Yeah, Mirror Darkly was the last episode that they were shooting for shooting, and then all of a sudden they knew about it. Anyway, this episode averages higher. Dave gave this one an 8, so he actually liked this episode
Dave's
better.
Rating last week was just offensive, and I still
it really is offensive. I honestly don't know what's wrong with Dave. Personally, I think we need to have an intervention. He's clearly on something. Him out. Yeah, because he loves some stuff that nobody else likes. So then there's other stuff where
we definitely need to intervene.
Yeah, he's on something. There's got to be. I think we got to get like A&E involved to do an intervention or something. But now I know Dave likes to tell me who wrote it and everything.
Funny though, Dave was at the Leafs game last week, but he was just watching us.
Yeah, he was watching the Leafs game,
commenting
and
on
the Leafs won that won that game too. Funny enough, but
hey, Davan, I was on a plane and I was watching you guys while taxiing out.
Oh,
there you go. Cool. Anyway, guys, unless you guys have anything else to say, I think we're pretty much done on this episode. We do have a lot of other things that we do on this channel, Live Long and Podcast. We have on Monday, myself as well as Adam. Usually shows up on time even. We do Enterprise at 8. 8 o'clock, by the way, Adam. 8 o'clock, just in case you didn't catch that. We always do it at 8.
This is Confederation, Adam.
Yeah, this is Confederation Adam. He runs at 9 o'clock for an 8 o'clock show. But anyway, I even messaged him early and he still didn't respond. But anyway,
because I was watching the episode. I was watching, I thought 9 o'clock. I'm going to make it. I finished it.
You know what, Adam? As my kids have said to me on many occasions, that sounds like an issue, not an ish me. So that's where we're at. So maybe next week you can join us at 8 o'clock, Adam, and we'll see if you can do that. Okay. Anyway. And then, of course, on Tuesday.
What shall Adam's penance be?
Oh, who knows?
Being
but
the name
we'll
of
find
the
out maybe next week. But anyway,
I was so excited to talk about this with you guys.
I was so excited to have you.
Yeah.
You didn't show up, and I can't reschedule this because this is something done by Dave. So,
I know.
We kind of had to start where we had to start. But anyway,
we
definitely missed you, Adam.
It kicked them off their Facebook or Twitch feed or something last week.
Yeah, we have to make sure we don't run past 9:30, which we got 20 minutes, so we'll be fine. Yeah. Anyway, on Tuesday on Live Log and Podcast, we have DS9 at 9-ish, which they don't have a firm time when they start. They just start around 9. So usually 9-ish. And I know that Davan, you've been on that many times. I've never
DS9.
been on it. Mostly because I don't know enough about DS9 to really be useful on that episode. Plus, I've never been invited, so what can you do? But anyway, but that's with Jeff Mader and co. There's a lot of people there, Jaemeel, various others, the Millards, all very knowledgeable in DS9 and whatnot. So join them for that. They're doing the entire series catalog. They've already done it for 2.5 years, and they're still going. So I believe you guys are on season 5 or 6 now. Somewhere around there.
5, yeah.
Is it 5? Yeah. So anyway, you're on that, and then
season 5 of DS9 is the best season of Star Trek. Most.
I wouldn't disagree with you. It's a very good season.
Maybe season 6.
Yeah, season 6 isn't bad. Anyway, we also have on Thursdays, as you can tell, we have obviously our Star Trek Picard rewatch, which one day Adam will show up on time for. Gotta get that extra dig in there, Adam.
Penance.
Adam's like, at this point, I've muted you. Screw you all.
I'll be there. I'm going to be in Ottawa, but I will be there.
Okay, fair enough. Well, if you can't, you can't. We get it.
No, I'm going to be there.
But we hope you're here
these days.
Because I'll tell you, Adam, we had even like screenshots and everything. Like you missed the whole thing.
Next, he's going to be like, I'm in the Baja.
Yeah, I'm in the Baja.
I'm watching you guys.
Yeah, we also have, I believe it's at 9:30 on Thursdays. We also have the remainder of the Discovery reaction series as well. So they're watching Discovery season 4 right now.
Go watch Adam lower all his Discovery ratings.
Yeah, well, eventually, yes, when he goes back on that show. We have him for Picard though, so we'll see what happens. We're trying to stretch out Adam as best we can. And then we also have a unique thing to our channel, which is called Star Trek Radio Theater. We currently just did an episode called Hide and Q. What is it? Hide and Q? Is that the episode we did? None of you guys were on it, were you?
I wasn't.
I think it was Hide and Q. Anyway, great episode. We also had Steve Shives, famous YouTuber. He does a lot of Star Trek content as well. We had him. It was great. He played Riker in the reread, and basically what that is we reread the scripts from episodes of Star Trek, and everybody acts out characters and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. Very old timey show. We even have sound effects and stuff. It's a lot of fun. And we also have some other channels, which I'm not going to bother to plug because, quite honestly, who cares? We're on a Star Trek channel, and this is what we should be listening to. So this is what we're doing. So anyway, unless anybody has anything else to say, I think we're going to sign off for the day. Oh, how could I have forgotten? Of course, Davan also joins us from a podcast known as Locutors of Trek with you and your buddy Dave, different Dave.
Indeed.
You guys do a whole slew of stuff. You do a special segment, Debate 9, which I really love.
Adam's our current champion.
Adam's current champion. Actually, I forgot Adam was on that.
You know what? That was so much fun. And the part 2 where we
came up with a new segment. We had so much fun, Debate 9, and we were like, we need a deep dive that we call this one Debate 9, the Class L probe, where we do a deep dive on some of the debate.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, everybody needs to join your channel as well. It's
Jody,
fantastic.
Jody, we talked about the Prime Directive.
Oh yeah, you know how I feel about that.
We did.
What else did we talk about, Davan?
We talked about whether Cardassia should rebuild itself without the help of outside powers. And geez, what was the other thing we talked about?
So basically, if you're a Star Trek fan and you like to argue, that's really the show for you.
Well, that's just one of the games we do. The meat and potatoes of our show is like a thematic conversation about different things through the lens of Star Trek. So.
Of course. Yeah,
the next one's about space.
Awesome. Anyway, make sure everybody joins that, and I'm sure we'll have some links somewhere for you.
And watch my X-Men show because it's awesome. X-rated.
Yes, X-rated
animated review show.
You recently had people who wrote for the show on it, and you did interviews for them
showrunner and one of the writers, and
that's awesome.
We have guests. We have had a Marvel.
That's the thing that I really like about the podcast community is. Yeah, the podcast community, you really get to see the behind the scenes stuff. There's a lot of behind the scenes things. I think your shows are doing a lot of that as well, which is fantastic. And Adam brings a unique blend to everything that he's in. So we already know that, especially when he shows up on time. That's my last singer for the night.
He showed up a day late for Locutors of Trek.
He showed up for a whole day late too.
Man,
he did.
You know what, Adam? You got a really hard rep going on here. Anyway,
he brought it though, and he won the debate. So
did he? Okay, well that's.
I needed that extra day, Davan.
Yeah, it's true.
Fair enough. By the way, I love your shirt, Adam. That's a great shirt. I love that one. Anyway, I'm Jody Simpson for Davan, and of course Adam, who did eventually join us. No, I didn't say late this time. Anyway, live long and podcast, everybody. Enjoy your time and have a good night. Keep safe.
Crash a new podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna go crash another one now. All right, bye. See